This is Dolany TV, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning and welcome to a Sunday edition of Edmonton Oilers discussion on the channel. Oh, we are so dang close. The tickets are in the account. We are ready to go for the home opener on Wednesday against the Vancouver Canucks. Officially now. And that is, oh, so exciting. I cannot wait to be up in Edmonton for what will be more than likely my last trip up north for the year. I've made 3 of them this year. Seems crazy to me because I really have not visited Edmonton much since I moved to southern Alberta. And for some reason or another, 2022 is the year I end up making 3 trips up, 2 of them for Oilers games, 1 for work. And now we find ourselves ready for the home opener on Wednesday. Folks, if you're new to the channel, what I want you to take over the next 5 minutes as we get into the next little bit of this video is to consider hitting subscribe on the channel. We're at 93 subscribers, 9,093, and that means we're 7 off of 9,100, which means, my friends, we are, sorry, just petting the cat, 900 away from 10,000. So if you're enjoying everything that you've seen here on Dolany TV over the past month and you haven't subscribed yet, maybe now's the time to do it before we get underway live from Rogers Place on Wednesday. That said, Kurt Leavins, 9-3. Oh, God, cat, you stink. Nine Things article came out today. And, well, for the Oilers, it is one of those seasons where it's going to start with the exact same question marks as it always does. That's the problem. For the Oilers, as long as I've been an Oilers fan, the questions have always been, are they tough enough? Are they defensive enough? And do they have good enough goaltending? And that is what Kurt Leavins pointed to be the Oilers' weaknesses, question marks, entering the season this year. Obviously, there's note on there that toughness does not necessarily mean a guy that's going to KO 3 people in a season and make sure that you can never touch anybody on the ice. Those guys have been phased out of the NHL. Yes, 1 or 2 of them crop up every season, but they are not long-term solutions to an NHL roster anymore. So, with the quote-unquote death of the tough guy in the NHL, that leaves you with the Zach Kassian types, which is where Kurt Leavins ended up going with the toughness kind of thing. However, right, the number one thing that always dooms any Zach Kassian type player is lack of finish and too big of a contract, i.e. the exact case with Zach Kassian. Now, on waivers today, again, we've got Radim Zohorna, who was claimed by the Flames from the Penguins the other day. The Flames have put him on waivers yesterday, and potentially the Oilers could claim him today. Does that add the element you're looking for in your bottom 6? I don't know. Is that an upgrade over Devon Shore? Is that an upgrade over Brad Malone, James Hamlin, Tyler Benson? Your guess is as good as mine because, again, these depth guys are always so hard to predict every single season. So, right? Are you looking for size? Are you looking for a guy that's going to throw the weight? Are you looking for a guy that's going to be irritating to play against, like a more Matthew Tkachuk, Brady Tkachuk kind of Nazem Kadri type player? Are you looking for a guy that's just going to contribute good enough points that even if you don't notice him physically in the game, he did enough to make you notice him somewhere else? I don't know. I don't know what the solution in the 2022-2023 NHL to the toughness aspect truly is, because to me, as somebody who was raised on hockey from 05-06 to the mid 2010s when they really starting to phase out the tough guy, is I'm quite a fan of the tough guy. Don't get it wrong. I love that guy that just goes out there and punches guys in the face. Love it. Absolutely do. But that's not how the game is played anymore. So unfortunately, you got to find a solution to that. And the Oilers, for the past several years, yeah, Zach Kassian was supposed to be the solution to that, but unfortunately, he never really truly was. Jujhar Khaira was part of that solution. although oft injured and, well, right, just never really phased into the offensive plans. So you can talk about the toughness element as much as you want. I think with Tyler Benson up there as a physical force, if he makes the team, James Hamlin will be a forechecking force as well on the fourth line, just one of those energy guys, kind of like a Josh Archibald but bigger. You've got Devin Shore out there, who I think will definitely have to step up his physical game this year and should. And on the back end too, Darnell Nurse is fully healthy and he can be a nasty guy to play against. So there's a bunch of options there and it'll all figure itself out. Plus the Hornell on waivers. So take your picks where you want. I really don't know what the solution is there, and I'm not going to try and sell you on a solution. When it comes to the defense, 5 out of 7 guys are returning from last year, and even realistically, you could say 6 out of 7 because Philip Broberg has been here last year. However, right, you're down Duncan Keith, you're down Chris Russell. I know fans really got excited with just kind of what Duncan Keith did for the Oilers down the stretch in the playoffs, but is that enough to justify where we were at with him at the beginning and middle parts of the NHL season last year? I really don't think so. So, right, it's one of those things where I don't think that's as big of a loss as we expect it to be. And what Duncan Keith leaves as a legacy on this Oilers defense is what his value is now, and kind of translates to what the value for a defenseman coming in like Ryan Murray would be for the Oilers right now. Philip Broberg, tons of upside, tons of potential, hasn't achieved anything yet, so it's kind of tough to say if he's going to be of any value. I did watch him score his first NHL goal last season. That was a very special moment. That was a very great moment in one of my darker years of hockey last year until the playoffs came around. Secondary to that, right, there's not many other question marks. Markus Niemelainen, you want to talk about that toughness element, that guy can truck you like nobody else can truck you on the Oilers defense, and he very well will be up here. There's a lot of rumblings that it'll be Broberg or Murray that start game 1 for the Oilers, and then Niemelainen's got it from there. So that's another element to both the toughness and defense if you really want to discuss both at once. The name is Markus Niemelainen. Don't forget it because we're going to be seeing a lot of him this year. Now, the third thing that Kurt Leavins pointed out, and this one's the really weird one. He went with the box, goaltending is like a box of chocolate. You never know what you're going to get line in his article. Really, goaltending is voodoo. It is something you just do not understand. You mess with it, you don't mess with it, you toy with it, you don't toy with it, whatever you want to say, it goes whatever way it's going just based on its own self. It does nothing else except for what it wants to do. And goaltending has always really, for the largest degree, eluded the Edmonton Oilers in terms of having an elite number 1 goaltender. You think you have to go back to Dwayne Rollison really as the last big number 1 goaltender the Oilers had, and even Roley's kind of a not great shining example of that. You almost have to go back. Yeah, I mean, have the Oilers ever had a truly elite goaltender? Yeah, Grant Fuhrer, but we're talking about in the modern NHL, we're talking about a guy that plays the style of game that we're playing now. The Oilers really have not had that outside of the one season of Cam Talbot in 2016-2017. So, and Cam Talbot, we're not talking about a top 5 goaltender in the NHL over the past 10 years either. So it's kind of tough for the Oilers. They got to try and hopefully figure it out this year. Jack Campbell, Stuart Skinner in net, and hopefully everything lines up. Realistically, that's all you can do as an Edmonton Oilers fan right now. Is Jack Campbell should be an improvement on Mike Smith, technically speaking, because he's younger, and Stuart Skinner should be, based on what we've seen last year, an upgrade on Mikko Koskinen. Secondary to that, as long as the first shot of the game doesn't go into the net every single game, the goaltending should be much improved. So you got to think that for the Oilers, there's a lot to like with this roster, despite the same old questions still sticking around. But what I'll put to you to this, all 3 of those questions were answered in the playoffs last year. The Oilers can do it with those questions still intact. The Oilers beat Calgary in the second round despite being less tough, despite having worse goaltending, despite having shaky defense. And we got it done in 5 games, not 7, not 6, 5 games. So, again, playoffs is a lot of luck, but the regular season is the grind. You got to get there through the regular season. You got to play 82 games no matter what. And for the Oilers, well, guess what? It's one of those situations where you got to be able to get through those 82 games versus the other 31 NHL teams to try and make those Stanley Cup playoffs. Folks, I'm Tyson. This is Stolen TV. I hope you took the past 10 minutes to consider subscribing. See, when I promise it's going to be 5, I usually mean there's a lot more to it. I'm trying to give you a longer trial period to consider subscribing to me here on Dolany TV. Anyway, folks, I'm up on and done. We'll have waivers news around noon today, and then I'm down in Crossfield the rest of the day, and we will catch you tomorrow. If there's breaking news in the morning, we'll catch you before I go into work in the car. That's becoming a new favorite broadcast studio. But anyway, I've already told you I'm out of here. I'm gone.